Okay, I see everyone's looking at me. They're smiling. Oh, I love that. You know that we're going to start? Oh, immediately? Oh, there's some people that's not looking at me. You're not tracking. There's people not tracking. Oh, good. Oh, well, yeah. I have been using this thing on tracking, but I went back and I reread the article. And it was a number of years ago that I read the article, and probably all of you heard it. But it was that this guy, they had problems in the school district. I think it was Chicago, and it was Cook County, and I think that's Chicago. And so he was going to help them with those that had problems. And so they would send, I think, all the kids to a certain school. But anyway, he says, I want the worst kids, the ones that don't learn, and I want them in one classroom. And of course, it was just one grade level. And the teachers all thought, you're not going to be able to handle it. Well, they came by in a couple months. Those kids were learning. They were just, it was just amazing what he did. But the whole thing was they were tracking. They had to look at him at all times. They could not be on their desk like this. Now, you know what? I still let my kids kind of do that sometimes. It's the end of the day, and I think maybe. But anyway, they had to be sitting up there. He would not have any hands ever being raised. He would call on you randomly. So at any point he called on you, you had to know the answer. And these kids, they just gained grade levels. And so I have my kids, I want you looking at me, I want you tracking, and I'm doing this because I want you to be successful. No, I'm not leaving anybody behind. No, I want you to be successful too. So, no, look at me. And so sometimes during the time, if anybody, sometimes they're sitting by their friends. If they're looking at back, no, somebody's not looking at me. I don't even mention the name. Oh, okay. Everybody's looking now. Good. And then we go on. And it's I think a really effective way to do it. And again, I can say this from last week. The one thing I don't allow is them touching each other, because I had a little boy and a little girl sitting there, and they were kind of, and I stopped it. They weren't talking, they weren't anything, but they were touching each other, and because they're not listening when they're doing that. Now, our story today, I think you all know what it is. And I want to say that I have found that some of the people in this room were just exactly like I was. And that is that I wasn't exactly delighted that we were teaching the Christmas story this soon. All the years in the past, I've always taken, when we came to this series, and put it later at Christmas time. I didn't do that this time because it was kind of felt that we should kind of get our schedule according to CEF so that when some of us retire, then it'll be like it's supposed to be. And anyway, so we went right ahead and we just did them right like we were supposed to do it. So anyway, I want to say that it's really going to turn out good in the fact that most of the classes meet on Tuesday. Now, there's other days, and your classes are just as important. But all the ones that meet on Tuesday, you do know that you will have class this week. But then you will not have class the following week. That is Columbus Day, and that is a school holiday.
Veterans Day.
Oh, veteran. I knew Columbus Day was reestablished, but it's, okay, that's Veterans Day. Thank you. I used to always call my mom and say Happy Veterans Day because she was a veteran of World War II. But, so anyway, so it's Veterans Day, and they have a school holiday, which means that one of our lessons we will not teach. Now, we've scheduled in a Christmas lesson. The Christmas lesson does not have a memory verse. So we felt like that we will just go ahead and teach the lessons in your class, and maybe you don't want to have a special Christmas time, although we are going to give you the stories that CEF has suggested, which is Whose Birthday Is This?, for a Christmas party if you want to have it. Otherwise, we're going to demonstrate next week some short stories that you can have your regular lesson, then in the last 5 minutes, you have your short story. I have done this for years in my class, because the last lesson I teach at Christmas time was always the first one we were going to do in January. Nothing to do with Christmas. I say we're having a Christmas party. We have the whole lesson. We play the game. And they say, what about the Christmas party? I say, it's coming. So the last 5 minutes, I tell them the Christmas story. That's our Christmas party. They're all happy. I'm happy. They're happy. So that is what we are suggesting that you do this time, because they have heard the Christmas story. So, but then those of you who will have a full class at Christmas time, we're going to definitely give you something that you can do during that class. So I'm sure you understood that timeline. Now, number 2 is we're going to have a very well-known story today. And what is it? It's going to be the wise men. Now, you know, when we start thinking about the wise men, where did they come from? The East. And so they probably think it was Babylon, and they really, I mean, if you read most of the commentators will say they learned about the Savior coming probably from Daniel. And so there was something that they knew that when the star appeared, that it meant a king was going to be born in Israel. But this king was going to be more than just a king. Because we know these men were believers in the Lord God, and so they came to worship this little baby. So they knew this king was more. Now, do you know how many years before Jesus was born did Daniel live? Does anybody know? We have the 400 years of silence, so we know it's at least 400. They had the 70 years of captivity. Then they had to come back, and Nehemiah and Ezra and Zerubbabel rebuild the wall. And so it's probably about 500 years. So that means it was close to the time of Christopher Columbus that they somehow knew, because that's when Daniel was there, that this Messiah, this baby, this king was going to be born for them. And so they feel they were believers. All right, Teresa, I could have had that wrong. Yes, my dear.
I'm sorry, you said Christopher Columbus.
Well, I'm just saying he was 1492, so that's 500 years. So it'd be, now that's how long it would be, 1492, 1992?
Yeah, but it would be before Christ. He was after Christ.
No, I'm saying it would be that amount of time.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, guys. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. It would be that amount of time that it was first prophesied until today. That's a lot of cultural things that have gone on during that amount of time.
Yeah.
And so for these guys to still be waiting and watching, I don't know if they looked at the stars every night. I don't know if they just, what happened. But this is an unbelievably amazing story that these men were actually looking for and knew what it meant. Now, when God, on day 4, created the planets, he says it's for signs, seasons, days, and years. Signs. Do we see signs in the sky today?
Yeah.
Really? Like what?
Space shuttle.
Yeah.
There's a star. Oh, no, that's a satellite. So anyway, guys, the truth is we don't have signs. They don't feel we have signs today. They can navigate today, but that's all going in their courses. And so, some of the commentators, I don't know how they know this, but I'm just telling you what they say, is that the signs quit at that point, that after that there really weren't signs. Now maybe you'll read something else, and I don't know that is a definitive statement. I'm just saying, and I don't even know how they know that. But the point that they even knew about this, now, the prophecy that he will be called a Nazarene, You know that prophecy? Do you know that's not found in the Old Testament? That's found in Matthew. And it says, to fulfill the prophecy that he would be called a Nazarene. But where exactly that is in the Old Testament, they always say it's Isaiah 1:11, but Isaiah or 11:1. But in Isaiah 11:1, it says, out of the root of Jesse there will come a plant, a root. And so it doesn't really mention the word Nazarene at all there. And so all I'm trying to say is that, so these wise men evidently had extra biblical, which doesn't mean they weren't from God, because it was true, but they had writings that they were looking for. So can you imagine after 500 years that, watching, and all of a sudden they see the star, the sign? I mean, this is quite an incredible thing that happened way back then. That first of all, they would even know it. Secondly, they'd even be watching. And third, that they would even go. Japan just gave President Trump all these fireworks. So they're going to be on the 4th of July. Well, it took me a long time to decide, am I going to go to Washington, D.C. on the 4th of July and see the fireworks? That was only a plane ticket. And I had a long time to think whether I was going to do that or not. By the way, we're going. But the second thing is for these guys then to go on that long trip. I mean, we have the wise men, but it's just I was just thinking about what an amazing thing this is, and even I want to say too about the wise men. We know why they think there's 3. We don't know how many it was. Even the gifts that they gave, how would they decide? Maybe there was a whole group of them. Maybe they all contributed financially, and they sent these people to represent them. Maybe it took a long time for one of them to say, we've waited 500 years, let's make the trip. And so, I mean, it took a process. Brian, unfortunately, he's gone right now, but he just told me in Ezra, I think it's 7:9, that Ezra said how long it took for him to leave Babylon and arrive in Israel. And it was the very same trip. Do you know how long it took Ezra to leave Babylon and arrive in Israel? It was 4 months. And so we know that the little baby, it was somewhat less than 2 years. So they had to spend a long time planning for even deciding to go, talking people into it, getting everything ready, and going. I mean, that it evidently took them a year to even get themselves together to go, because it was somewhat under 2 years. And then now Rosa's not here today, but I was talking to her, a long time ago. But anyway, it was about the calendars. Well, the Chinese calendar is not the same as the American calendar. So when they met with Herod, it was like, okay, let's see, now your calendar, okay, now what month? And so it took them a while. I already gave you credit, Brian.
Oh, okay.
And you missed it. So it took them a while to discern, how long ago this really happened. So anyway, guys, we hear the story every year, but it really is a spectacular story. It really is a spectacular account. Thank you very much. It's not a story, it's an account. All right, so we have Eddie here today.